Hey folks, Anthony here of Austin Historical Weapons Guild here with Andreas. Today we're talking about Fabris Plate number 42. Plate 42 is fun because Fabris starts giving us some of his hand parries. I'll start the disclaimer that he ends with and saying that hand parries, of course they exist, they're things you can do. He says they should only be used for emergencies and that, as we'll see in subsequent plates, they're easy to deceive. But first, some kind of uses of them. So this is why, well, one of the reasons why Fabris is always showing that hand kind of up by the ear, so it's available for use and able to kind of make those quick hand parries and move from there. So this first one is fairly simple. We're both starting in third to the outside. It doesn't give us any distance or motion or anything, but he says that I kind of feint an attack of third to the outside just to make him think something's going on, right? I come in like this, and he sees this as he should as an opening, right? And he's able to step in, lunge in, displace, staying in third the whole time. If memory serves, this is one of the earlier plays we even saw, right? So again, it's a really simple idea. I'm here, I go to make a motion out of tempo, out of distance, and I make an opening for him. He just drives in, exploiting that kind of fault in my movement, fault in my action. However, if I'm aware of this, or if I really just mess up, this is when that free left hand kept up by our ear starts to come into play. So again, from the third to the outside position, as I move in, as I'm here, as he opens up, I can place out here. As I do this, I turn into fourth, which conveniently drops my sword. Then I take that passing step with my left foot, and I'm able to make the wound across the body to his left side, actually, which was surprising at first on reading it, but playing through it really makes a lot of sense, makes it a really easy displacement, really easy motion. So again, we're up at our distance. As I make my kind of motion to make him do anything, right? As he closes that distance for me, this hand has been doing nothing. I want to get inside, come across. If you need to wrap over the top, I assume that's fine. And that's really if your opponent is really working those narrow lines and is really good at finding that position there. You can kind of swoop over the top. Fabris shows it coming out, pressing from the inside, fingers up as we come through. So again, we're both in third to the outside. I make a motion, bait his attack, stepping through, wounding there. Notice my hand is a little bit low because I really don't want to stab him as we do these plays repeatedly. But if that hand's out pressed up high forward, I'll catch him probably just shy of the belly button, which is just what that's showing. The second option sets up to the inside, but again, as usual with these plays, really falls back to the same sort of pattern. So we're both up, third to the inside. I'm going to cavazione, moving through to fourth. As of late, I've been doing cavazione as kind of a sidestep, anything like this, whichever foot wants to move, doesn't really matter. And then because we want to do a feint from this motion, I use that kind of reset gather here as part of my feint to really drive in, bait this action here. So again, this is really strongly encouraging him to displace. He gets a really strong parry if he stays high, again in third, working that option out. But I have the option now that because I'm coming back and forth, that I'm really able to make him commit to that wide position, right? If he's super narrow like this and doesn't actually pick up my sword, he impales both of us because he doesn't work to his own defense. So it's important to note, Fabris talks about your opponent really making a parry. So if this is not working for you, make sure you're, well, first giving your opponent something to parry, and B, that your opponent's actually parrying that and not just kind of driving in with the attack. The other thing we found working with this is that if he's not doing this right here, right, if he doesn't go to parry, I actually win this exchange, right? So if he drives in forward and I have this fourth in line, I can really easily push out with my back edge, clearing myself and making a safe wound there. So really make sure, especially with this version of it, that you're making your opponent parry. Things that I can do wrong is if I'm sitting here up like this, if I come over and drop my tip like this, that's going to make him drop his sword, and that's going to make it very difficult to make the grab with your offhand, and you'll never get out and displace for the actual wound. So make sure your fourth is strong and horizontal as you're moving through. So again, bolt up in third, a cavazione with a feint, I catch, and as I pass through, I make the wound across the body. So one more time, a cavazione with a feint. As he comes into parry, I catch, and I can just easily step through and make that wound happen. I think that's it for that. Again, I'll finish with the warning that these are nice, these are showy, they're definitely good to practice, but these are not something you should be relying on. They're not something you should be expecting to use. These are the equivalent of the fancy dagger plays, of stuff you need to drill and practice. So if it happens to come up, you're prepared for it, but this is not something you should be putting in your fundamentals. This is something of an emergency action. So as always, folks, if there are comments, feedback, questions, complaints, compliments even, feel free to reach out, comment below, reach us on Facebook, reach us on email, go to our website, all that good stuff. Otherwise, hope everyone has a great night, and thanks for watching.